Chris?
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember last week, but
I
you
don't.
lost the game show.
I did.
Which means that your punishment was this week hosting the podcast all by yourself.
It was.
I forgot. And I showed up anyway. I'm pissed about it.
Yeah.
I'm mad. I'm livid.
I'm doing pretty good. Everything's coming up, Chris.
I didn't ask. So, since I'm mad at me, I'm mad at you, I'm mad at the show in general.
Yeah.
Let's make this one a quick one, all right?
We will. But first, something interesting happened this week.
What's that?
I didn't watch it, but there was a trailer that came out.
Oh, I did watch it.
Yeah? For Friday the 13th, Part 8.
Scream 6.
So you watched the trailer?
Yeah.
From what I heard, it all takes place on a subway. Like
It's nothing. It is about
train.
6 seconds of a trailer.
Oh, really?
It seems like, I think, like, it looks like they're shooting it now.
Yeah.
Like, that's the feel I get from the trailer, but it is a couple of our characters from the last movie.
Yeah.
Some of the new guys on a subway, and one of them goes, guys, and they look out and like there's a bunch of ghost faces on the train, and then the lights start going out and on and out and on, and every time they go on, he's closer and closer and closer until he's right up on them, and then he smashes someone's face into a window, and then he goes, Scream 6, New York Minute.
All right.
Whatever.
Hopes are high, hopes are low. What are you thinking?
Oh, hopes are on the floor, Chris.
Really? My hopes are kind of high.
Why?
Because I feel like at this point the series has jumped the shark.
Uh-huh.
So it's I know they did it a long time ago. In my opinion, it got jumped with Scream 2.
Yeah.
But at this point, they've finally broken into that new.
It jumped the shark when Scream 2 opened with Scream Run 1 directed by Robert Rodriguez.
I have air quotes on new, but it broke new ground by just being like, you know what, fuck it, we are Friday the 13th now. So there's a chance that it can't be fun. There's a chance it could be bad. There's also a chance that there's even a chance. Honestly, you know why my hopes are high? I'm not gonna lie to you, because of that last Halloween movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, which I loved. Like I said, like 80% of.
Yeah.
But there's a 20% that I'm just like, I don't like that. I don't. So I just have a feeling that it could end up maybe even be one of those things where I'm like, man, they're doing something really interesting. I just wish this wasn't Scream 6.
Yeah.
My hopes are unreasonably high in that sense. I don't think it's.
Spider.
Wow.
Crawled up.
Yeah. So my hopes are unreasonably high in a way that like I'm probably going to be let down. But I just feel like there's two different directions I can see it in that are good and only one that's bad. But the thing that sucks is that the bad probably is 50% of that pie, and then my two other hopes are maybe in the 25% range. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
I think my big problem with the last one, when I really, really think about it, if I try to boil it down,
is I don't remember it.
Because I don't remember it. And if I kind of got the feeling from it that it's like kind of into the campy area, but also they're like, yeah, but we're the Scream movies.
Yeah.
So we
we're
kind of
cool.
have to be cool and kind of serious about this, which is what I like. I think the most about Scream 4 compared to the other sequels is I think Scream 4 is tongue-in-cheek the entire time, and then it's over. I think to an extent the first Scream is tongue-in-cheek. Not to an extent, it is, but it's very classy about it. And then I think they get less and less as time goes on. So I think, like, part of me feels like it's not, well, hey, Jason Takes Manhattan is the peak of cheesy, campy slashers. Like, that's what everyone knows it for. So this one will be Scream in New York as an homage to that. I have a gut feeling that nobody said that, and someone just went, wouldn't it be cool if it was in New York?
Oh, so you're saying history's repeated itself, is what you're saying?
I'm afraid it has.
Yeah.
or
someone went into the board meeting just like Friday the 13th, and instead of saying we need to get Jason out of that camp, they said we need to get Ghostface out of Woodsboro.
Chris, how much do you think Scream 6 is going to take place on a boat?
That would be very funny if any of it takes place on the boat.
It'll be my favorite Scream movie if it does.
Yeah.
There's two things that they can do to make it my favorite Scream movie. Most of it's on a boat.
The other is if a certain fella shows his face.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to say it, because if I say it out loud, it won't happen. But
don't want to jinx it.
If somebody comes back, yabba dabba doo, that's not what Shaggy says. Zoinks, that's also not what he says.
No, he does. He goes like Zoinks, Scoob.
He does.
Yeah.
Jinkies. Jinkies is what Daphne
Velma
says.
says yes.
I thought.
Well, here's what I'll say. I don't know if you remember, but something like 17 days ago, I went, hey, isn't there another Scream coming out soon? And you were like, the hell are you talking about? And I was like, there's like a new Scream coming.
That's right.
And you were like, that was February. And I was like, oh, wow. And now look what happened. There is a new Scream coming.
Eating Soup Alone is a podcast hosted by me, Christopher Crumley, and co-hosted by Nicholas Johnson. We try our best to ramble incoherently about a handful of movies at least once a week.
Well, we watched 2 movies.
We watched 2 movies. We watched The Nice Guys and The Banshees
Of Inisherin.
I have it.
Did you hear them howling?
The Banshees?
Did you hear them howling?
Yeah.
Wow.
Spooky.
That was spooky.
In my head, I always go, Inisherin. I got it. And even right there, when I say it out loud, it doesn't come out right. I can say it right in my head, but when
Yeah.
it comes out of my mouth,
For like a week, I was saying Inisherin.
yeah, I like to say it.
Inisherin. But it's Inisherin.
And if you remember, a while ago we did an episode called Kiss Kiss Bruges Bruges.
We
about
did.
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang and In Bruges.
Mm-hmm.
Both of these movies are spiritual sequels to those movies.
Yeah.
They are same writer-director for both movies. I mean, you know what I'm trying to say?
Mm-hmm.
Not all of these movies are directed by the same guy. But Shane Black did Kiss Kiss and Nice Guys. Martin McDonagh did In Bruges and The Banshees
Of Inisherin.
Inisherin.
Yeah.
Did you ever see 3 Billboards outside of?
Yeah, I did. Is that one of these people?
It's one of McDonagh's movies. Yeah,
Oh, no kidding.
I've never seen it, but I'd like to. And
Yeah.
now that I know it says, I'd like to see even more.
Interesting.
But yeah, spiritual successors. They're basically the same movies again, but with a little twist, little twists and turns.
Yeah.
For this isn't your dad's In Bruges. It's for the modern age. And for the modern age, it's for your dad because they're old men. We'll start with Kiss Kiss Bang. No, we'll start with The Nice Guys. We're not doing Kiss Kiss Bang Bang on this show. Mail time.
Mail time. Oh, my God. Not your dad's mail because I'm getting it the way the kids be getting it.
Telepathically.
Nah, I got this shit in an SMS.
Oh fuck! Chris is putting on VR goggles to read this. Oh my god.
Oh, my God. The words are coming right at me.
He's jacking in.
Oh, God. The Nice Guys.
Oh, he's jacking off.
Oh. To the tune of I Love Rock and Roll. The Nice Guys. No, that's yeah, that is.
I love rock and roll.
So how do you want me to do the Nice Guys?
No, you don't have to do the title.
Oh, okay.
Just the rest of it, I think.
Okay.
If I had to guess.
Oh, that's right. I get you. We'll cut that a little bit then. All right. The Nice Guys. I love Ryan Gosling. I want to kiss him on the lips even though I'm a straight man. I don't really know this song. I don't think. Is that right? Was that good?
I don't know. Maybe whoever wrote this isn't good at parodies. Let me see.
I love Ryan Gosling. His comedic timing makes up for his wonka. Oh.
For his wonky eye.
Okay, wonky.
We might have to drag some of them out.
Okay. I love Ryan Gosling. Please kiss me on the mouth and do not tell my wife. Sorry, I can't. I'm butchering this. I love rock and roll. Sorry, no. Ryan Gosling. I'm begging, baby, please don't tell my wife. About us. It's fun. And yet there's no rating.
Ooh,
Whoa.
mysterious.
It was. Left me hanging.
Chris, what's your experience with The Nice Guys?
Saw it when it came out. Saw it a couple of times since. End of list, basically.
Cool.
Yeah, what about you?
Saw it when it came out. Saw it a bunch of times since.
Yeah. You love this movie.
Oh, I love this movie.
Yeah.
I have watched. This is The Nice Guys is maybe it's got to be in like the top 3 movies I've seen the most probably.
Interesting.
If The Nice Guys is somewhere, if I get like an ad on my PlayStation or smart TV or whatever that's like, hey, The Nice Guys is on this now.
Yeah.
I will go, cool, I'm watching The Nice Guys right now. I adore this movie.
I will say also this time watching it, more than any other time, it just kept bringing LA Confidential to mind. I think the pace and tone is similar. The only difference is this one's much more funny. So it has like I guess a decent heft of like lightheartedness to it.
Yeah, and Russell Crowe looks like that one guy from L.A. Confidential.
Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
And Kim Basinger looks a lot like that girl from L.A. Confidential.
Kim Basinger?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because she plays Russell Crowe's love interest in that movie.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. But yeah, they're both period pieces. Russell Crowe leads both of them, and Russell Crowe kind of plays...
Does he lead this one?
Debatable.
He helps.
Yeah.
It's a two-hander.
I would argue it leads it more than Ryan. But anyways, yeah, he plays like kind of a similar character. I mean, he's like, perhaps technically like the dumber character, but the metric by which that's judged is kind of debatable to a degree.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And he really, 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 really wants to be like a detective, but he's just not. Like he's squirreled away into like this brawler role where he kind of beats confessions out of people and stuff. Which
Just
again,
like this
movie, he really, really wants to be a PI, but instead he's like a, break your kneecap and stop talking to my daughter kind of a guy. And then, like I said, just like the two actors, but also like the through line, like the actual like mystery of both movies kind of remind me of each other. Like the through line of that one is kind of similar to this one, with like the whole idea of like a woman and like the woman's been seen twice kind of a thing. It's not exactly, but like the mystery with like LA Confidential is that like there are these women. And, like, I guess it's kind of a mild spoiler, but, like, the reveal ends up being that, like, there's this rich millionaire who's, like, paying for plastic surgery for these women. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a couple of... I don't really want to spoil a bunch, but there are a couple of things that just kind of remind me of, like, they're hunting for this woman. There's, like, a dead woman, and, like, there's a aunt who has to, like, come ID it, and, that kind of a thing. Like, it's just kind of, like, in a similar wheelhouse. Like, they're both set in, I assume, like, L.A., right? It's L.A.?
Yeah.
In this movie, this one's L.A., and it deals with like them. I'm pretty sure the guy who's running the ring is doing it not necessarily for pornography, but for like prostitution. So again, it's almost like a vice crime as well.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? There's just like a lot of little stuff like that. Obviously, there are huge differences. That one's set in the 40s, and this one's set in the 70s, and that one deals with actual detectives, and this one deals with like a PI, and yada yada yada. But there's like enough there that like the whole time I just kept thinking like this really does have like a little bit of LA Confidential vibes.
Does anyone drink a Yoo-hoo in that movie?
No, I don't think so.
Because when he gets the Yoo-hoo in this, he goes, I haven't had one of these in about 30 years. And every time he does that, I do the math and I go, the 40s.
But we should watch that soon. It's a pretty good movie.
I'd love to. One of the little trivia things I read on IMDb about The Nice Guys is apparently Russell Crowe has said in an interview the only movies that he's done that he wants sequels to are this and LA Confidential, because he likes the character so much he wants to play them again.
Yeah, LA Confidential is a really great movie. I am like 99% sure it was up for Best Picture, but it just it happened to be against the Titanic. So it's one of those things that
what
everybody's...
What are you
gonna do? Yeah, exactly. Everybody like is like objectively like I can't argue with it. It's just way too bad that this movie went up against the Titanic because it should have won, but it's the fucking Titanic, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's kind of everybody's opinion on it, But we're not talking about that movie.
All right. I think opening scene is the boy from Iron Man 3. You remember?
Nope.
Oh, yes, you do. You love Iron Man 3, Chris. We watched Iron Man 3, and you said, Nick, I can't get enough of this Iron Man. I hope there's an Iron Man 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
There's a little boy in Iron Man 3 that he's friends with. It's the same kid, same director. Shane Black directed Iron Man 3 as well.
Oh, that's right. The lady dies in the car accident, and my first thought was, why are her titties out? But then Shane Black pulls a trick out of his old bag and goes, oh, so I can have this kid White Knight.
Yes, I think it's so weird. It's weird. I don't know how I feel about that. I think it's sweet, but also I'm like, our boobs could have been not there while we watch the life drain from her eyes.
That's the one weird thing I've pegged about Shane Black is he has a weird thing about like going out of his way to have his characters be like fedora tipping nice guy.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
weird.
That's what we'll call this movie from now on: the fedora tipping nice guys.
But she says, how do you like my car, big boy?
Yes, I do. I think it is a fun joke up until he White Knights that he steals the Playboy, looks at it, and then the car with her in it crashes through his living room. Very funny. And then she dies.
Not funny.
Not funny. No, not funny. And then I think we get right to Russell Crowe.
What's he doing? He's wearing glasses.
He's wearing glasses. He's doing a Sudoku. There's a teenage girl about 13 dating.
She is 13.
Dating a guy in his 20s.
He said 3 times her age, I think he said.
Okay. And that would be?
36?
Exactly.
Is it? 39? 39. Maybe 39.
So he's pushing 40.
pushing 40.
but he's got the sick dope.
He does.
So it's the 70s, so you know it's bad.
What's she say? Doesn't he say something like, call me the...
He's like, who's the man? And she's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you're the man.
Mm-hmm.
And then she leaves, and Russell Crowe knocks on the door, and the guy's like, what? And Russell Crowe beats the shit out of him, and he's like, stop hanging out with little girls,
Yeah.
bitch, and then spits on him or something, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just going to keep with Russell Crowe right now, because I think that's what happens.
So tricky when you have
He's-
the fucking the web that you weave with the fucking
When you have-
mystery and the
Yeah,
fucking
and
two
you have
main
two characters that are both narrating the movie. Yeah.
It's the same thing with LA Confidential. There are literally 3 main characters that are all at different stages of understanding the mystery of the movie.
Russell Crowe is giving a narration. He's like, hey, I beat up people for cash. That's what I do.
Put it in my hand.
He's kind of like a PI, but he's kind of like an enforcer.
Mm-hmm.
He's a jack of all trades. He sees Amelia, played by Margaret Qualley, the star, as we both know, of Death Stranding. Norman Reedus. No, she just also happens to be in Death Stranding. And Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And I think she dated Pete Davidson. She's like, yeah, these guys are following me, and I'm scared. Here's a little note that I wrote down on a sticky note that looks like a hippo. That'll come back later. And then we get to Ryan Gosling, and he's asleep in a bathtub wearing a full suit. Love it. Absolutely love it. He has written on his hand, I don't remember exactly. You don't.
Something about you're never going to be happy or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you don't deserve to be. Something like that.
Yeah. For most of the movie.
Yes. And he wakes up, he's given his narration, he's like, I'm a PI.
Minus a WIFE.
Minus a wife. What's the quote that he says about his wife? He's, yeah, she used to say this all the time. But also she used to say, whatever's hanky-panky. She was British. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he gets a phone call, answers it. It's his daughter. She's like, you didn't forget you're supposed to be at work today, did you? He's like, oh, of course not. We go from there to him talking to the old lady.
Okay.
Who is looking for her husband. And he goes, what's your husband's name? And she goes, Eric. And he looks over on the mantle, and there's a urn that says Eric on it. And he goes, when was the last time you saw him? She goes, I haven't seen him since the funeral.
He's like, don't get right on that.
Yeah, and his whole thing is he takes money from delusional old ladies who want the help of a PI. But he's also just the worst PI in the world. You know what? Doesn't matter. I don't have to go scene for scene. I'm just going to do what I remember.
Okay.
Ryan Gosling's at home now. He's just fucking around in the kitchen. And then knock, knock, knock. Who's that at the door? It's Russell Crowe. There's an altercation. They're fighting.
Hey, beats him up, beats the shit out of him.
Yeah, it turns out that the person that the girl, Amelia, that hired him is being followed by Ryan Gosling because he's following her because he was hired by Misty Mountain's aunt. She believes she's still alive. She saw her 2 days after the accident. Clear as day.
In the inner window at her house. She
at
drove
a desk.
up.
She wrote something down wearing a blue pinstripe jacket.
Yep.
Then she got out, got in her car, drove away. Coke bottles for glasses this woman has. She looks exactly like my grandmother, in case you were ever wondering.
Well, she looks exactly like the old lady from The Cat in the Hat with Mike Myers.
Yeah, i.e. my grandma. Russell Crowe's beating him up. Who hired you? I can't tell you. Who hired you? He's like, fucking this person, all right? She's a person of interest. He's like, oh, man, you just gave up your client just like that right away? He's like, yeah, man, you were being mean. And he tries to grab a gun from the cookie jar, swats it out of his hand.
Well, maybe not just like the old lady from The Cat in the Hat, but you see why I drew the
They're
connection.
pretty similar, yes.
Yeah, pretty similar.
They're old women with large glasses, yeah.
Yeah. I do like when Russell Crowe's like, and when you go to the doctor, tell him that you broke your right tibia or whatever the fuck.
Yes, this is the first part of the movie that just like it gets a good chuckle out of me every time I watch
when he's
it.
like, no.
Yeah, when he's like, all right, give me your arm. What? Give me your arm. No. And he's like holding it like an angry child or a dog.
Yeah.
So funny.
Yeah.
And then he breaks his arm, and it just I love in movies where part of a character's design is just one ridiculous thing that's there for the whole movie, like looking at Old Boy with the weird glasses and the haircut, or Ryan Gosling in this. He has like cast on the entire time, and all of his suits, the right arm is split up the side because he has to fit the cast through it. Or left arm, I guess. Doesn't matter. He breaks Ryan Gosling's arm, leaves, runs into Ryan Gosling's daughter, who we know from the newer Spider-Man movies. She plays Betty Brant. She goes, hey, you want a yoo-hoo? And he's like, a yoo-hoo? And I love that he's got the apple in his hand and throws it behind him. He goes, are you kidding me? And
I haven't had a yoo-hoo since LA Confidential.
I haven't had a yoo-hoo since I was LA Confidential. You a friend of my dad's? Yeah, sure. We were just talking some business. He fucks off. He goes. Oh, I love that the next shot immediately is him coming home with a case of Yoo-Hoos. Mm-hmm. I love that he has that first Yoo-Hoo in 30 years and goes, fuck, I'm getting some more Yoo-Hoos on the way home.
But what happens when he goes home?
Keith David and another man are there.
He lives above the Comedy Store.
That's right. He lives over the Comedy Store. Yeah. He gets beat up by those two guys, Keith David and other.
Yeah, the other guy. He's like almost like a hyena type. He's like a Lion King hyena bad guy.
He's a real jackal of a man.
Yeah, he's got glasses and sideburns and kind of a fro.
His face is blue for the rest of the movie.
Yes, because they find like a little bag or whatever in Russell Crowe's apartment. And he's like, seriously, don't fuck with that. That's for someone else. Don't. There's a blue dye. And he's like, I told you. Then he's being a dick. I don't know what he says to Russell Crowe, but Russell Crowe's going to be like, oh, you're going to regret that when I take that gun out of your hand, you idiot.
Oh, he kills his fish.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He starts throwing the fish at him. That's right. He's like, stop with the fish. No, no fish. Yeah.
And then
great scene. I love this little scene.
Oh, it's great. Yeah,
it's very fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Russell Crowe's just great.
Yeah.
I don't care what he looks like, because if we're being honest, Russell Crowe looks like shit lately.
In like the most badass way. I would say.
Absolutely.
I feel like they did him a little dirty. I wish he was dressed a little more like seemingly of the era.
Yeah, I get that.
Like just something like tucking the shirt in, or like maybe the jeans not being as dark. He looks a little modern compared to everything else
He's wearing
in the movie.
Like Vans almost. Like his shoes are weird. Like,
which I know they kind of had then, but I don't know. It just seems like with how over the top period piece everything else is.
Yeah,
he looks like he got the set and he's like, I'm not fucking. This is what I'm wearing. I'm wearing.
Could
this.
Could be. Then we go from there to.
So after that happens, Russell Crowe goes back to Ryan Gosling, who's now in a bowling alley.
Yes.
They're having.
Love this scene as well.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
I used the Lord's name in vain. No, I didn't, Jessica.
Yeah.
I found it quite useful, actually.
It's a birthday for his daughter, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
He goes and takes a dump, Ryan Gosling does.
He does. Reading a little magazine, he does.
He does. Russell Crowe comes in. I just want to talk, and the physical comedy of him trying to keep the door open, his pants up, and the gun on Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
I don't think Ryan Gosling will ever get the credit he deserves for how... I think Ryan Gosling might be my favorite actor of all time.
Okay.
Right behind Matthew Lillard.
Mm-hmm.
Just so good. Just the funniest. Just so... Like... I can't even explain it. I can't even put my finger on what makes him so good, but his delivery... Like, in a few seconds, he goes, Missy Mountains? The porno actress? The young lady? The porno young lady? Yeah. And the two of them sit down and they talk, and they compare notes. Basically, realize they're working the same case. Russell Crowe
hires him, pays him money
on top of what the old lady's giving you.
Yeah,
old lady, fuck you, old lady. I gave it up. You broke my arm.
Yeah,
and we know he didn't because he was just talking to her, and she's like, "I'll give you more money if you keep looking." And he's like, "All right, I guess."
At this point. I know the next thing that basically happens is he's like, I know where Amelia is, kind of a thing, and he brings her to the protest.
No,
and
daughter comes in first.
Okay.
Which I love.
I
Daughter
don't remember
comes
this
in
part,
first
but go ahead.
and goes, who are you? Oh, you're the guy that broke my dad's arm?
Yeah.
Yeah, I am. Hey, how are you? Thanks for the Yoo-Hoo or whatever.
Yeah.
He says you hurt people for money. I do. Will you hurt my Jessica? My friend Jessica? How much money you got? About $30. She's
how
a big
big
girl?
is she? Yeah.
Great.
But I just want to bring it up because you're talking about his like delivery and stuff like that, and I definitely love, like, he's like, what makes you think Amelia's here? He's like, it's Amelia's protest group, and he's like, yeah, but Amelia might not be here, but he's like, it's Amelia's protest group, and he just keeps saying that. He's like, stop saying it's Amelia's protest group.
Oh, I don't know how I went past it, but it is legitimately the first thing that makes me laugh out loud in this movie is Ryan Gosling's introduction when he's narrating and you show him on the job and stuff like that. He's like, sometimes you gotta get dirty, you gotta do what you gotta do, and it shows him wrapping his hand up paper towel to punch through a window, and he punches through it and slices his wrist open, and then heart cuts to him in an ambulance.
Oh, that's a lot of blood. Yeah,
it's so good. That's
but
a lot of my blood. The protest group,
they're going back and forth about the birds can't breathe, and he's like, what about the gas mask you're wearing? They didn't save you, all that kind of stuff, whatever. But anyways,
you're protesting the air. You're protesting the air.
Yeah,
it's great. They say last time they saw her, she was at her boyfriend's house.
Dean.
They go there. Dean's house.
Chet helps Dean.
Fun fact about Chet.
What?
Val Kilmer's son.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I love Val Kilmer.
Also, Robert Downey Jr.'s in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Didn't know that.
Oh.
Okay.
He could have acted more surprised.
Well, sorry. Yeah.
Also, Robert Downey Jr.'s in this movie.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh my god. I tried to slam some stuff, but it didn't.
Yeah, we got to figure out how to do physical bits on this audio
We need some
podcast.
Foley.
We'll figure it out. If anyone out there knows how to do Foley and will work for free, let us know.
Yeah.
They go to the house. It's burnt down. Chet's like, yeah, man, they were making cool art films. And then a little kid on a bike comes up.
He's like, I'll show you my dick.
And they go, hey, you know anything? And he goes, hey, this guy will give you $20 if you tell him stuff.
Yeah.
He goes, give me $20. He gives him $20.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, they were making porno movies here with some guy named Sid Hatrack.
Yeah.
No one's name is Hatrack.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know, man. I was just here trying to get involved. Offered to show him my dick. Got a big dick. I don't know who this kid is, but he's great. I love him.
I will say, that's one of my favorite. I like a lot of little. There's so many like little comedy bits, like exactly that. When Chet's like, "Hey, this guy, if you give this guy information, I'll give you $20." He's like, God, no, like you know, because he obviously didn't want to dole out $20 every time someone comes along with information. But
yeah, absolutely love when they're leaving, and he's like, "Want to see my dick? No, we don't want to see your dick, dude.
Yeah,
I'll show you my dick for $20. I just gave you 20. What am I saying?"
Yeah.
And then they leave. They're like, nah, fuck, we're fucked. We don't know where to go. They just happen to drive past a billboard that says Sid Shattuck.
They
Sid
do.
Hatrack. They're cool. We got to go to Sid Hatrack's house. They go back to his house for a second. Daughter, go stay at your friend's house. Oh boy, will do, can do. They go to Sid Shattuck's house. They're going to split up.
It's a big party.
Great party. Earth, Wind, and Fire is playing. It's a huge party.
I mean, there's that point where his daughter's like, "You're going to a party?" He's like, "No, I'm going to a big party."
Yeah.
Yeah.
They park the car. Valet goes, no, I love that. He goes to hand him the keys. You hear the knocking in the trunk, and he looks at it, opens it, sees that it's his daughter, closes it, and goes to give the keys back to the guy.
And he goes, "I can't take your car like that, sir."
Comes out with her. She's like, Dad, there's whores here and stuff. Honey, don't say and stuff. Just say that there are whores here.
Ryan Gosling gets tanked.
Ryan Gosling gets tanked as he does.
Yeah, Russell Crowe does some detective work.
Why were you in the pool? I had a question on mermaids. Looks like someone brought Mary Jane to the party. What? Marijuana? Pot? Someone smoking it. Oh, I can't smell.
Yeah.
You're a private eye and you can't smell. Yeah, he gets tanked. He does actual investigation work. Someone shows a porno to the daughter.
Yeah.
And Ryan Gosling falls down a hill.
Yeah, after flirting, he falls down a hill,
Yes.
finds a dead body.
Finds a dead body, who is, in one shot, Robert Downey Jr.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, and he sees Amelia. She runs away.
Yes, this is true.
Russell Crowe finds him and goes, what the fuck, did you fall? And he goes, yeah, I fucking fell, blah, 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 this and that. But there was a girl here, I lost my gun, and she saw me, and now there's this dead guy. And they're like, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to take the body, we're going to hide it, we're going to get out of here. No, I think he goes, we're going to throw up, we're going to get the body, and we're going to get out of here. And they both throw up. It's great. Throw it over a wall.
Ruin someone's party.
In the middle of a party. Always funny.
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen that bit a million times. Never fails to make me laugh. They run into...
His daughter is brought right into the clutches of Hyena Man in the back of the limousine.
She's asking around about Amelia.
Yeah. But then what else happens?
They see Keith David.
Russell Crowe bumps into him, and they fight. The gun falls in the hot tub. They're fighting like crazy. Russell Crowe eventually gets the best of him by shooting through his thigh, through the hot tub underwater. And then, Keith David's like, you'll never see me again. He's like, yeah, where are you going? He's like, Detroit, Michigan. He's like, that's good enough.
Yeah. And then they've stuffed daughter into the car. Holly's in the car with Hyena Man. Hyena Man sees Amelia trying to get her car.
Real quick, even Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling have interesting odd names like Marsh and Healy. Yeah.
Is it Marsh or March?
It's March.
Yeah, March is fine.
Yeah.
Sometimes it sounds like Russell Crowe saying Marsh sometimes. But yeah.
I think he's like Australian, isn't he? IRL?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Cool dude. I've always loved him as an actor.
Oh, he's great.
Yeah.
Love
him.
Yeah. Warns Amelia. They run away. The chase happens.
Russell Crowe is visibly disappointed in Ryan Gosling for being so drunk. He kind of actually ends up having to save his daughter because
I think
Ryan Gosling is a
crashes that sports car and stuff like that. Yeah. I don't know if it's here or later. No, it's earlier when he's leaving that old woman's house. He's in the car with his daughter, and he goes, also, so funny that the daughters are driving his car all the time and she's like 11. I need you to answer a question for me. Don't sugarcoat it and try to be nice just because I'm your dad, all right? Do you think I'm a bad person? Yes. Great. Good movie. 10 out of 10. Banshees of Inisherin. No.
Yeah.
He kills Blueface.
He does. That's a very important scene. Misty Mountains or Amelia? Amelia's with Holly. They're running away together. They get stopped by Hyena Man. And Hyena Man just happens to get No Country for Old Men. And, Amelia's like, we got to get the fuck out of here. And, Holly's like, no, he's dying. We got to help him. And she's like, have fun with that. Bye. He was just trying to kill me. So Holly's like, oh, no, we got to help the bad man. And then, Healy shows up, Mr. Russell. And Mr. Russell is like, Holly, go try to flag someone down. And he just like, the Blueface man says like, John Boy's coming to get you, motherfucker. You're going to die, bitch. And Russell Crowe's like, yeah, well, everybody's got to go sometime. Gives him the old grip. And then Holly comes back. And he's like, yep, sorry, Blueface didn't make it. She's already suspect.
He pooped his pants and died. Look.
Look, pull his pants down. I promise you there's a poop in there.
You can't smell it, pull it down. Are you like your dad? Can you not smell?
At this point, kill them all. Oh, wait, I should also mention that he didn't actually say, Russell Crowe, you're going to die. He actually said John Boy's going to kill Ryan Gosling and his daughter.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, that's what was said.
Don't know when it happens, but there's a great joke where they're talking about the old woman with the glasses. Ryan Gosling says she's blind as a bat, got a mustache and a Volkswagen, and she'll say, boy, that Omar Sharif sure runs fast. Great joke. Love it.
Also, they talk to the cops. They give some statements to the cops. I think this is when they meet Kim. So Kim and her right-hand lady, Tali, they take them to like the Department of Justice headquarters.
They're Amelia's mom.
Office. Yeah. She basically lays out like, I'm the Department of Justice. My daughter thinks I'm trying to kill her, so she's on the lam. And I'm trying to find her, not hurt her. I'm trying to figure out who's trying to hurt her and save her.
Yes. Yeah. She thinks I'm the man, and I'm not. And they're like, I don't know, we wouldn't do this for anywhere less than $5,000.
Mid her writing 10,000.
So good.
Yeah, that's a good bet. So at this point, Russell Crowe, he swipes a little note from the office. Is that how he gets the like SWFTL?
Yes,
like,
it's the same paper.
Yeah, and that's what he says to Ryan Gosling. He's like, I've got a clue. It's the same paper. And he's like, that's great. All right, I'm having a drink. And he's like, what? No, there's work to do kind of a thing.
No, we are in the backyard first at the pool. Ryan Gosling's pool. Ryan Gosling's laying on the diving board, and Russell Crowe tells him the story about the diner shooting.
Yeah, which is something that was alluded to in the police business. When they're giving their statement, Tali comes up and she's like, oh, diner boy.
Yep.
And Ryan Gosling's like, diner boy, huh? Diner boy, huh?
Yeah, it turns out Healy had a nice action star moment where he saved a bunch of people in the diner from a crazy man with a shotgun. He finishes telling the story. Ryan Gosling is asleep on the diving board.
Yeah, and he says something like, it was just nice to feel useful for once.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, very sad. Yeah. Russell Crowe nails it. Ryan, get to where you are.
Is it the next day?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah, he shows up and he's like, I swiped this note. It's like a little note. It says like SWFLT Los Angeles 8837, whatever the fuck, right? And he's like, it's a flight. We got to stop this flight, whatever. And Ryan Gosling's like, great, good luck. I'm drinking or whatever. And he's like, what do you mean drinking? We got a job to do kind of a thing. And is this the point where his daughter blows up at him and is like, you are a fucking bum and people hate you or whatever? Mm-hmm. And he's like, well, I got a nice flyer, though. And then she's like, I hate you, and turns her back on it or whatever. And Russell Crowe goes, whatever. I'm going to solve this case, whatever.
She says, I can't remember exactly what her line is. She's like, you're always messing up and getting drunk and stuff, and nobody likes you. He's like, don't say and stuff, honey. And she goes, I hate you.
Yeah.
So that works. And then Russell Crowe goes to leave, and Ryan Gosling goes, you're not going to find her because that's not a flight. I guess what he goes, they don't do overnight flights. It's, it's a flat. It's the Burbank Apartments near the airport. And the number, 0210, it's not a flight, but it's a date, but it's flipped around like the European version.
Yeah. But before a lot of that happens, there's a point where he's like, it's not a flight. And he's like, did he stop? And she's like, yes.
yeah, it's so good. This is maybe my favorite part of the movie. He just wows them with the best bit of detective work that happens in any of this movie.
Yeah. There are a couple of times where he knows a couple of things.
But this is like Rain Man level insane shit.
Except I like that he's still wrong.
Yes,
because
that's the best part.
they're leaving or whatever, and there's a flight happening because he was saying there's no overnight flights. He's like, well, they should change that because they should go back to the old way.
No, they go to the apartments and it's gone. There's a guy on the street goes, oh, they tore these down like 3 years ago.
So on that count, he's wrong.
Yeah, he goes, oh, they tore these down like 3 years ago. And Russell Crowe turns around and looks at Ryan Gosling and goes, to the airport then.
Yeah.
And then he does, there shouldn't be overnight flights. And then it turns out there's a Burbank hotel at the
So
airport.
he was right.
He's half right.
Yeah, like 1/3 right. There were two
exactly.
things that were wrong. But yeah, there's like a Burbank airport apartments where everybody's like, oh, that finally makes everything click. I love this when they go in and he's like, talking to the bartender. He's like, tell me everything you know or whatever. And he's like, no, I could be persuaded, like trying to like get some money out of him. And he's like, yeah, your persuasion is my partner won't do it again. And he's like, do what again? He's like, this. And then like Russell Crowe grabs him by the tie and slams his head or whatever.
Yeah.
And then he spills his guts. He's like, yeah, they're up there, a couple of business types, whatever. And they're like, your buddy just came here last like 10 minutes ago. And they're like, what? And they're like, your buddy, aren't you with the guy or whatever? He went up about 10 minutes ago. And he's like, did he go up in the elevator? Is this the point where Russell Crowe spills the beans that John Boy is like gonna kill him and his family? That Ryan Gosling and his family?
I don't know.
I think he said something like that. He's like, yeah, then we should have stayed out here. It's the smart thing. He's like, I said it's the smart thing. I didn't say it was the right thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they have that little... And I love this bit.
I love this bit so much. When they get to the elevator, it opens up and there's like gurgling sounds and they like peek and there's a guy whose throat is slit and he's holding it, and then they see a guy come down the other side of the hallway and get shot 3 times, so they just close the elevator and start going down, and then you see the guy get thrown out the window behind the elevator.
And I love Ryan Gosling frantically pushing the button to close it, and then the guy falls down, and you can see Ryan Gosling just on his inside start to just tremble.
Yeah, you can actually see his like 2 cheeks like shaking.
Like his wonk eye flaps a little bit too. Love that bit in any movie where you see that another arguably more interesting movie is happening with not our main characters. Yeah. I love it.
Reminds me of something I remember. It reminds me of 2 things. One is I remember being a child and owning An Evening with Kevin Smith 2 and him talking about like when he was writing a Superman movie and talking about how like, that wouldn't really have been a good idea because like my thing would be like I would like probably write a really good Superman, or at least did write a really good Superman. Or I think it was Green Arrow or something. I think it was like Green Arrow. He was like, but the thing with the script was like the notes were always like, like it was just that like he had written this thing where like it was basically Clerks but Green Arrow, where like they would just be sitting around having interesting conversations, and they'd be like, oh shit, look, a guy, and then they would like walk off camera. Like that's why I'd write in the script is like, oh, then they go deal with that, and then back to that shot of them like talking.
That's so funny.
Like not even intentionally. He was like, that's how I write. That's what I'm happening.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, that's what The Tick is. The TV show.
Yeah, it is.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I got to finish that. That was great. The few episodes you showed.
Yeah, shout out to the OG Tick with Patrick Warburton. Is that his name?
Yep.
Yeah. And a couple of other recognizable faces, at least to me. Great. I haven't seen the new one that like Hulu or Amazon Prime did or whatever, but that one I feel like the one that came out in like 2002, 2003 or whatever. So fucking funny. I love Batman. I love Captain Liberty.
I think that a Soviet robot waking up, whose only plan is to kill the president, wakes up in the year 2002 and goes, must kill Jimmy Carter, is one of the best jokes I've ever heard.
Not only that, but when they turn around and they see the newspaper, they're like, Jimmy Carter is in town. Jimmy Carter is in town.
So good. Let's do The Tick next week.
Yeah. And also Christopher Lloyd shows up in the first episode to play to play what's his name? It's like Walter or something. Whatever.
Yeah.
The Moth Boy, Mothman. He plays his boss. He's like, you've got exactly 30 seconds to explain exactly what you're doing here. Arthur. It's Arthur. That's what it is. Yeah. Great show. Shouting it out real quick. But anyways, they're downstairs in the alley. And what should happen to them?
Russell Crowe goes, we gotta go back. Ryan Gosling goes, we no go back. We can't get girl. And then girl falls on top of a car.
Yeah, crazy. And a girl tries to shoot them and then falls and knocks herself out.
They bring her home. Daughter didn't go to friend's house. She's there with friend. Sorry, my sister had a guy over. Oh, she's such a slut. It's great. Yeah. They talk to Amelia.
Which is another classic kiss, kiss, bang, bang.
Calling someone a slut?
Yeah, just that kind of a thing. Like, there's that point where, like, just it's more like fedora tipping kind of stuff. Where like,
a guy grabs your tit and it's no biggie.
Or even more so like, oh, you fucked my best friend, thing like that. Like, just like always, like I don't know, just always bringing up like not that it's like even in that instance a bad thing, just that like why is it always such a obsession point that a woman has sex?
That's a great point.
You know what I'm saying?
You got some splaining to do, Mr. Shane.
But anyways,
They talk to Amelia. It turns out they made a porno movie with all
a
the
message.
with all the secrets.
right. Russell Crowe's like, a porno movie where the plot's the point?
Yeah. Mom is in on it with the big three.
Basically, yeah. There's some sort of catalytic converter, like lawsuit going on.
They're lying about like the emissions and stuff like that of the cars.
And getting off. Amelia says they're getting off, too. My mom's just taking some kickbacks and letting them do what they do.
And
she's very sleepy, which makes me think she's concussed.
Yes, and then they let her sleep, which is bad.
I know they do. They Russell Crowe tucks her in a little bit. He's like, "Okay, we're gonna go talk over here."
Yeah. And then they call Tali. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe. Yeah, Russell Crowe's infatuated when he calls. And he's like, "Yeah, Amelia just fell in her car. She's here." And the whole time you can already tell something's off because she's like, "Wow, that's wonderful." And then she says something about like there needing to be a trade-off of money.
Yes,
$100,000
for someone who's seen this movie within the tens of times. I got no idea what happens here. I don't know where they're bringing the money, where the money came from, and why they're bringing the money.
Yeah, I don't know. It comes out of nowhere, but I know it's a setup from Tali, so it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know any of the details that she says to him on the phone. That was something that I was very curious about. But yeah, basically so there's two things going on. Like Tali's getting him out of the house, basically.
Yeah, so John Boy can show up.
So that John Boy can show up. So the money stuff, very funny to me because I love this scene, especially because one of my favorite comedians of all time, Hannibal Buress, makes a cameo.
Yes, I think right before that, though, one of my favorite scenes is he tells him the Nixon story.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, so think about it from that guy's point of view.
Yeah.
So you think when everybody dies, they see Richard Nixon?
Yeah.
So there's two ways to look at things. Yeah. Why don't you just say that?
Yeah.
What do you mean? You just let me down this whole fucking journey when you could have just said there's two ways to look at things. Wouldn't that be terrible, though? Yeah, that would suck.
Yeah. But anyways, he it tips off with I think Russell Crowe being like, check it out, ankle gun. And everybody's like, oh, that's so cool. And he's like, man, we gotta pull over here. I'm getting pretty tired. He's like, no, we don't. Car can drive itself.
What?
And he's like, wow, didn't know it could do that.
Yeah, man,
he starts smoking a cigarette.
No, I love it. It's a nice little, how subtle just that moment is from him. Just when he takes his hands and feet off the gas and stuff, while doing that, hasn't even registered that that's happening really. And is like, I'm going to get a cigarette.
Yeah, I love that in his dream he's smoking.
Yeah.
But anyways, then a bumblebee's in the back. And I don't remember exactly how they segue into that or whatever. He says I think he says something like, he's like, all cars drive themselves now or something like that. And he's like, what the hell would a bumblebee know about that? And he's like, no, look like the air is so volatile. All the bumblebees are driving cars now. Yeah. Very funny. And then they smash. They just crash.
Because Ryan Gosling is asleep while driving.
Yeah. And I'm not going to lie. I'm a dumb guy, I guess. Because as soon as all that shit flew over, I was like, damn, did Russell Crowe have a bunch of business cards or clues in his glove box or something? Is going to be mad that Ryan Gosling just crashed his car? But then immediately they go, yeah, well, there was no money in that case. And I'm like, oh, they shredded up the newspapers and filled it up with the fucking thing or whatever.
Always check the money, Chris.
Yeah. Don't know why that was the first thing that crossed my mind. I don't know why the first place was all Russell Crowe stuff.
He has almost nothing. This is all probably very important to him.
Yeah, but then it clicks because a Ryan Gosling is like, why would Tali do that to us? Someone must just swap out the money or whatever it is. Kind of a thing. He says Tali said she counted herself. But anyways, they realize basically, oh shit, they were trying to get us out of the house. So back at the house, John Boy there.
Yep. He pretends to be a doctor. He's very charming. I like him quite a bit.
Do you really?
Come on, Nurse Holly. We need to look at our patient.
Yeah, he's pretty charming. Doctor, yeah. He's pretty charming. I just feel like he's one of those guys that's so handsome I hate him.
Yeah, he's so handsome he's ugly. He's boring.
He looks like
the guy who plays Cyclops.
Yeah, or the guy who plays Scarecrow in Batman Begins.
Really? Cillian Murphy? I think he's a weird kind of handsome.
Yeah.
I think he's he looks a little off. If if his genes were just tweaked a little bit, he would be ugly. But no, I think he's got a very striking face. So
or almost Henry Cavill, but I kind of like Henry Cavill.
Oh, Henry Cavill is the most. He's Superman. He's the most handsome man on the planet, Chris.
Yeah, but it's almost handsome to the point where I'm come on. A little more normal, Henry. Come on.
I get it. Yeah.
Go home and become a little more normal somehow. But he also loves World of Warcraft. Played a lot of World of Warcraft, so that's cool.
Yeah, missed the call to be Superman because he was playing WoW.
Yeah.
Love it.
But anyways, that aside, yes, you're right. He is how's the patient, Nurse Holly? Stuff like that.
And then he hears dumb friend Jessica
just going on about John Boy in some show, We're the Marshes or something, or the Marshals, or we are the Marshals or
Daughter drops an
Friday
R
Night
word at
Lights.
this point for some reason.
She does. She was like, I wouldn't watch that show. That show's for fill in the blank.
Yeah.
And oh yeah, Holly grabs a gun out of the little the little cookie jar, and she's like, fucking freeze, motherfucker. And Jessica's like, what the hell are you doing, Holly? And she's like, how he says, what does he say? He says something like, Holly, like if you help me out, like I'll only kill her or something like that.
Oh, he says it to the friend. He goes, if you help me, I'll only kill Holly.
Yeah. Anyways, I know that our main two characters pull up right as he's like walking out of the house or whatever, and there's like the girl had just been thrown through the window kind of a thing. And I love this. This is another very funny scene to me. Like Ryan Gosling's like, hey, did you hear that? And he's like, doesn't stop moving or even look at them. He's like, oh yeah, I heard that.
Yeah.
He goes to the trunk or whatever. They're like, what the hell was that? And he's like, oh, I threw that girl through the window, and then pulls the gun out.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. And then
All kinds of gunfires.
shoot out Amelia once again. She finally gets her comeuppance, but it's my favorite thing about Amelia in this movie. Anytime anything starts happening, she's like, I am fucking out of here.
Yeah.
She runs out the window. After the shootout, John Boy catches up with her and kills her.
Yeah, just he's like, wouldn't you believe it, or something like that. And yeah, you just get that shot of like the car and her being like, hey, can you bang? And then it just peels off.
And then where do they go from here?
From there,
Because I know they come back the next morning in the same clothes. They go to the cops. Obviously, you got to call the cops after a shootout happens at your home. They're both PIs, so they kind of just get let go, which is strange. And they make their way back home. House is all fucked up, and then Misty Mountain's aunt shows back up.
that is true.
She's like, Mr. March, where's she at? And they're like, fucking, ma'am, I don't know.
Yeah.
Lady, I don't fucking know.
And in this moment, I want to pause for a second because we also missed one of my other favorite like telling scenes where Holly fills in the blanks for Ryan, and he's like, no, that's the whole thing, is you take the money, then you dodge the calls for 2 to 3 days, pretend like you're working really hard, and then on the third day you call saying you're really close to a break, but you need more money or whatever for double dipping or whatever. But anyways, back to Coke Bottle Glass's aunt.
They go to her place because they're like, fuck, there might be a clue there.
Yeah.
And they do. They find a lot of clues. Turns out Misty had a projector in her house. The aunt saw that. She saw the movie that they're after.
And we should mention at this point that basically what has happened at this point, what everybody has been clued into at this point, is that the Department of Justice lady is also like anti-pornography or something like that. Yeah. On top of the catalytic converter stuff. That's ancillary. But anyways, she's basically aware of this porno tape that has a plot.
Yeah.
AKA spilling the beans. AKA she needs to kill everybody who was involved and destroy all the tapes. But what did Ryan Gosling just figure out? That there's another print out there.
Yes, because Amelia apparently went there, watched it. That's what the aunt saw, and then Amelia is the one that she saw leave.
Yeah.
And I love they're going through this whole thing. They're putting the mystery together. Like, oh yeah, and this and this and this. Oh, okay, it's going to be at the auto show. That's tonight. They're going to do it there. The aunt goes, wait. So does this mean that my niece is dead? And Ryan Gosling goes, yes. So, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Holly goes, we're gonna find out we're gonna snap him.
Yeah.
And then they go get changed and they go to the auto show.
Yeah, the auto show, a lot going on.
A lot of cars.
Yeah.
A lot of lazy Susans.
A lot of them. I think they find a note that says something about Chet, and they realize Chet's gonna be like working the whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
So they're trying to find Chet. They're upstairs at one point. Tali shows up with a gun, says she killed 3 people in Detroit. Holly tries to save them by pretending to be room service, and then by throwing hot water or hot coffee.
Yeah, I love this scene top to bottom. I love she comes in, and she's got him at gunpoint, and Russell Crowe goes, "Are you really gonna do this? You're really gonna shoot us? Have you ever killed someone before?" She goes, "Yeah, 3 times in Detroit."
Yeah.
And Ryan Gosling goes, "Tali, come on, what are you doing? This isn't you." And Russell Crowe goes,
"She's a murderer.
She just admitted to committing 3 murders."
Yeah.
And then Ryan Gosling hits the floor and starts like slapping.
No, he's like, "Don't paint her with that brush or whatever." And
Yeah.
he's like, "Yeah, well, maybe if she murdered one person, but by the 3rd one, I think you're a murderer."
You need to look at what's in front of you right now. And then he gets on the ground and he's like
patting around with his ankles. Yeah.
What are the ankle gun? What are you talking about? What the ankle gun? You went like this and you showed me the ankle gun? Yeah, I had one. He's like, "Oh, did I dream that?" "Yeah, you dreamed that."
Yeah.
And then Holly comes in and throws the coffee. "Why'd you throw cold coffee at me?" "I thought it'd be hot." And I love Ryan Gosling is on the floor still, but he's just basically chilling.
Yeah.
And he's like, I like where your head's at. That really could have worked out.
Yeah. And then she slips in the coffee and he's like, that really worked out.
Yeah.
But they split up. I don't remember what Russell Crowe goes off to do.
Before they leave, he gets a pillow and puts it under Tully's head, and then they go.
But Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling split up. I think they're both looking for Chet.
They're both
right?
looking for Chet,
Yeah, they're
yeah.
both looking for Chet. Ryan Gosling, I think it's Holly, overhears the plan that like
Keith
John
David,
Boy's
yep.
here, Keith David's right there, which clues him into like, okay, Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe are here, so he takes Russell Crowe and Holly up to the roof.
Ryan Gosling and Holly.
Yeah, Ryan Gosling is pretending to be drunk to get the upper hand on Keith David.
Hits him with his cast. They both plunge off the building. Ryan Gosling lands in the pool. Keith David, not so lucky, explodes.
Which makes Russell Crowe, Ryan Gosling think that he's invincible.
Mm-hmm. Is this a part where he's in the pool and he sees Nixon?
He does see Nixon,
Yeah,
yes.
it's very good.
He sees Nixon. Then there's all kinds of shooting and running around and trying to grab the film reel and all kinds of stuff. I don't really want to go through scene with that unless there's anything that stands out specifically to you.
Really no.
Yeah, but anyways, at the end of the day, they beat John Boy, and it's a wrap. That's wrap picture. Except for the fact that like I meet at the bar, and Russell Crowe's very sad that the car company still got off, and he's drinking again. And Ryan Gosling unveils the new Nice Guys flyer, which is the same one except the smaller head is behind Ryan Gosling's. And
he doesn't kill John Boy.
that's true, right? Yes, because earlier with the blue face, he did, and Holly pretty much knows that. There's also a scene where Holly's reading in the field where the house used to be
Yes.
that Ryan Gosling is always talking about wanting to rebuild, but it's not being rebuilt. And Holly asks Russell Crowe, "Did you kill that man?" And he goes, "No, I didn't. No, you should get back to reading." But anyways, yeah, as he's choking out John Boy, his favorite move. Holly goes, "You can't do this. You'd be a bad man if you did." And he's like, "Your life's been saved by a 13-year-old girl." Then, Nice Guys flyer, roll, wrap picture.
I can't remember what it is. There's a nice little. There's a scene where they're sitting in a lobby and Kim Basinger is sitting behind them.
Yeah.
There's a good burn that Ryan Gosling gets on.
He starts speaking German.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And she's like, "What the hell are you saying over there?" And Russell Crowe's like, "I think what my colleague is trying to do is draw a comparison between you and your statements and those of Adolf Hitler's," or whatever kind of thing.
Right.
Which is something that Ryan Gosling does a billion times. He's always pulling Hitler out of his back pocket. Like when that guy, he's like, "I was just following orders." He's like, "Yeah, you know who else was following orders? Hitler." And Russell Crowe's like, "That doesn't..." Yeah.
Yeah, Chris, I love this movie.
Yeah, I think it's a good mystery. I think it's very funny.
Yeah.
Great performances all around. Nobody's a slouch.
Yeah.
And this is a great movie.
Yeah, I just like my feelings on MJR movie theaters.
Yeah.
This movie just works. It's just good all the way through. I love it. It's a blast. It's a comfort movie for me. If I'm sick, I watch it. If I'm not sick, I watch it. If I'm cold, I watch it. If I'm hot, I watch it. If I'm hungry, if I'm full, I watch it. Chris, I watch this movie. I'm gonna give it an A. I'm gonna give it an A.
Yeah. Any comparison you want to draw to Kiss Kiss Bang Bang or anything like that? I mean, we did mention at the top spiritual sequel. Is there anything on that topic?
It's the two guys, the straight man and the not straight man. Literally in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang and figuratively in this one. And they just go on like a Hardy Boys type mystery. That like two different mysteries that end up being the same, and they wrap up together at the end. Two very likable actors at the top of their career. One on the up and up, one on the way out, but respectfully. They mix very well. I laugh, I cry, I party all of the time. I must have liked it a couple of years ago, but at some point I've changed my mind. Vamping, just speaking lyrics.
Is there anything almost like a maturing or anything that you feel like was better this time around or anything like that? Like, even if it's generational, like the difference between like a movie coming out in 2002 and a movie coming out in 2016 or whatever the fucking years are.
It definitely looks better. I think it's written a bit better. I think like the best comparison I can give between Kiss Kiss Bang Bang and this is, I feel like the ending of Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is you know at restaurants when people get the oppa, when they come out with the plate and they go oppa and it lights on fire and everyone goes whoa.
Yeah.
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is an oppa, but your waiter dropped all the food and then picked it back up and went, "Oh shit, sorry, it's okay. Here, look, fine, everything's fine." And you're like, "Yeah, okay, this is salvageable. That's fine. I'm fine. I'm not that upset with what happened. I'm not upset at all." And I think the ending of this is just a waiter, a very competent waiter coming with a much less fancy dish going, here's your food, no problems at all.
Yeah, that's fair, because that was something I don't remember about Kiss Kiss Bang Bang in your example, but I did peg in this one as I was like, well, this movie just kind of wraps up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Not in a bad way, but your analogy is perfect. Yeah. I definitely think in terms of like the tides changing, it's a lot less of that young man jealous of women stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So this one's much more palatable to the modern
Absolutely.
tastes. Yeah, I still can't decide, like, obviously, like, just objectively, this one's the better movie, but I just can't decide which pairing I like more still.
Yeah,
Like,
that's a tough pick.
I feel like they're neck and neck, because I love Val Kilmer in that movie, and I love Robert. It was something it's something I think about a lot. The Robert Downey Jr. basically always playing the same character. But the thing that's really cool about Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is that there's an extra layer to his persona when he's not Tony Stark / one of the highest paid actors in the world. Like, because it becomes like almost like a Elon Musk like braggadocio type thing.
Yeah.
But like when he's just a shitty nobody fuck up, it's just nice to see it in a new context, I guess. Like it even though it's the same performance, it gives it like a breath of fresh air.
He's like,
you know what I'm saying?
I think Robert Downey Jr. is incapable of being relatable anymore in a movie, and that's not a problem. I have no problem with that. I think he's magnetic. He's fun to watch. He's a good actor. He makes me feel things. But in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, it is pre all of that stuff.
He's got like a schlubby thing about him, but nothing's different about how he behaves. You
know what? Me and Robert Downey Jr. aren't that different, huh? I think like the most impressive part about The Nice Guys is that they found two guys that are, I would argue, as good as Robert Downey Jr. and Val Kilmer are together. It's like the X-Men movies. The old X-Men movies, you're like, oh man, Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart as Magneto.
How are they
going to
match that?
There's no way they could do that again. And then somehow they find James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender. They're just as good.
You know, they did a weird thing too with the Banshees of Inisherin. Somehow they found two guys to match the chemistry of In Bruges.
Yeah, they look just like those guys.
Yeah,
it's
kind of weird.
Just fucking old as hell, though.
Yeah,
that was the toughest part of this movie. I was like, oh, Colin Farrell is so
Time
old.
passes.
Well,
it reminded me also of earlier. I was driving with Elton, and also just the other day we saw Modest Mouse do the 20th anniversary of Little Lonesome Crowded West in Madison, Wisconsin, and I just kind of had like a little like a mini like epiphany kind of moment where I was like, wow, like I can remember like, for so much of my life just like seeing ads for like, like Rolling Stones Painted Black 35th anniversary tour and stuff like that. And I was like, damn, like now bands I grew up with are doing that. Like, because Elton had just told me he was like, Death Cab for Cutie's legitimately about to do like a 10 or 15 or whatever the fuck it is anniversary of Transatlanticism, and also do a postal service set for like the anniversary of like Give It Up or whatever. And I was like, damn, like everybody's just out here. Because at first my first thought was like, oh yeah, nostalgia's big right now. But then I was just like, no, just everybody's dying.
Yeah, all the time Apple Music will give you notifications like, hey, this album that you feel like came out yesterday, pretty soon there's going to be a remastered 20th anniversary edition. Like all the time I feel like I'm doing that, and it's really upsetting.
Even to this day, like, like sometimes I'm like, holy shit, I can't believe like To Pimp a Butterfly came out in like 2013, 2014.
Yeah,
insane. Or even Damn. I think Damn was like 2016, 2017, maybe 2018 at the latest, but even that's 4 years ago. Just all kinds of shit like that. I mean, I could just rifle them off at this point. Like I remember listening to Acid Rap in 2011. It's crazy to think that's an 11-year-old album now. Chance the Rapper has an 11-year-old mixtape.
Insane. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That mixtape's in middle school.
Yeah. But anyways, there was a movie we watched that involved music, but it wasn't necessarily the focal point.
But anyway, Chris, time marches on.
It does.
I don't want to be friends anymore.
What?
I don't want to be friends with you anymore.
Wait, just 45 seconds ago, we were pretty good pals.
Yeah, but it's not 45 seconds ago. I've made up my mind, and I don't want to be friends with you anymore.
Well, what do I do now?
That's not really my problem. Chris, I just don't. It's not something you did. It's not something you said. I just don't like you anymore.
Well, give me one more movie review to maybe change your mind.
Okay, but if this one's not good...
Okay.
Cutting off all of my fingers immediately. I pussyfooting around.
All right, well, let's start with the middle. That's usually how we do it. Banshees of Inisherin. Inisherin. I watched this whole ass movie, and for 120 minutes I thought, all right, what the heck is a banshee? And then the old one goes, I named the song Banshees of Inisherin. Inisherin. We ain't got no banshees. I just like the sound. So obviously I'm pissed. Quote, I'm sitting here crying over two old guys and a donkey, and you don't even have the common courtesy to show me a banshee, Mr. McDonough. Mr. McDonough. Still got Rising Arizona in the brain. I love that movie so much. I said, for shame, Mr. McDonough. For shame. Determined to get some answers, I Googled Banshee, what it is. Determined to get some answers, I Googled Banshee, what is it? Google said, I think you mean Banshee, what is it? It's a scary old lady who tells you someone is going to die. Which the movie did have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sure did.
So egg on my face, this movie is stuffed to the brim with banshees. 8 out of 10, pretty good.
Chris, I'm not going to ask you what your history with this movie is because we watched it basically at the same time. This movie just came out.
It did.
We were supposed to go see it together. I got a little tummy ache, so I couldn't go, and I watched it a couple days after when it came to HBO.
Yeah. Anyways, the Banshees of Inisherin. We start off, and it's Ireland. Who knows when? Well, later on, you kind of get a clue. Maybe, kind of. I don't really know when the IRA stuff was happening. That stuff could have happened from the 20... Well, it was going on all the way until, like, recently. I think it even sparked back up with the EU stuff, but I feel like it was even going on in, like, the 70s and 80s. I
believe I read
that went on
somewhere
for a
that
long
this
time.
is the 20s.
Yeah, but I'm just saying with the IRA thing.
Yeah.
Like, I remember pegging that as, like, a moment where I was like, okay, all right, I at least have some idea that we're in, like, the 20th century.
Yeah.
I just don't know exactly when.
Do you want to do the full plot on this, or do you just want to talk about it?
I don't think it's that taxing to do the full plot.
Okay.
Because it's a very sparse movie.
Yeah,
it's not as intricate as a mystery.
It's something I really like about it. I was watching this movie and I was like, yo, this movie could be like told like an old folktale.
Yeah.
Like there's these two guys in Ireland.
Yeah.
And one day, one of them told the other one, I don't want to be your friend anymore.
Yeah.
So he goes, yeah, like, right, it's great.
Yeah. From the rip, Colin Farrell, he wants to go talk to his friend Colm. His name is Podrick. Something like that. But anyways, Colm is in his house, but not answering the rapping at his chamber door. They
go to the bar, or they go to the pub together every day at the same time.
Yeah, they are best friends. But basically, Mad Eye Moody lays out, I don't want to be your friend anymore. I have no place in my life for dullness anymore. I want to devote my time. This is after a little while. They have a couple of meetings and all kinds of stuff.
You're skipping past my favorite part, Chris. I love him going everywhere and everyone going, where's Colm? And he goes, oh, I don't know. He didn't want to come. Was he not home? No, he was home.
Yeah.
What was he doing? Nothing.
Yeah.
Are you two of you rowing? I don't think we're rowing. Sounds like you're rowing. It sounds like we're rowing. Also, I love when a movie teaches me a new word. Rowing.
Yeah. And I would say even like the town and the townsfolk kind of give me like Coen Brothers vibes.
Yeah, it's the Fargo thing. It's like everyone's speaks a very specific. Everyone's kind of basically the same person.
Yeah,
it's great.
But yes, so basically, Colm lays out like I want to focus on like introspection and like writing this tune and stuff, and I don't have time for your dull talk of your donkey and your donkey shit and all that kind of stuff and. There's all kinds of funny...
Talk to me for 2 hours about what you found in your donkey shit. Well, it was my horse's shit, so obviously you weren't even really listening.
Yeah. And there's a couple of other things going on. One is the sort of like BC plot of the police officer who is just outright a dick and beats the shit out of his kid.
And you outright see his dick.
Yeah.
That took me aback. Like I didn't realize it was there at first, and then I was like, oh, that man's naked. That man's naked.
Yeah. And Colin Farrell's sister, Siobhan, is leaving for the mainland because she has a job at a library in the mainland where she is not told Colin Farrell about this yet. But anyways, to take it back, yes, are you rowing? No, we're not rowing. Colin tries multiple times to talk to Mad Eye Moody to no avail. Mad Eye Moody does not want to hear it. And there are plenty of delightful little yucks here and there. Mm-hmm. But there eventually is a night where he wants to go out with Brian Keoghan or whatever that guy is. Billy Keoghan or something.
Yeah, can't remember.
Yeah. But anyways, I'm told that he's in The Killing of a Sacred Deer, and I guess he was also the Joker in that one scene in the new Batman.
Correct.
But anyways, I like him a lot in this movie. I think he does a great job.
I wrote down on my notes, can't understand a thing this little man is saying. I had to turn the subtitles on just for him.
But they go out drinking one night just because Colin needs someone to hang out with. And yeah, I do love the scene where they go back to his house to try to swipe his old man's liquor, and the cop is just sleeping in the chair naked.
Be quiet. Dad'll ring us if we wake him while he's been jerking, or whatever he says.
Yeah, and they're hanging out, and he's like, Dad'll beat me tomorrow for it, but whatever, I don't care right now, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Also, I do love the running joke for like the middle of this movie where he's asking everybody, "Am I dull? Am I a dullard? Am I dumb?" And everyone's like, "No, you're not dumb. You're not dumb. You're not dumb." And when he's not friends with Mad Eye Moody anymore, he can only hang out with the dumbest guy on the island because he's the second dumbest guy on the island.
Yeah, I also love the scene where Dominic says touche, and Colin Farrell doesn't know it.
Yeah.
And he's like, "To what?" He's like, "Shay, it's French." So he even gets bested sometimes by the village idiot. Something else I'll say is I also really appreciate like his sister coming to call him so many times and just being like, "You have no time for dullness? You live on a small island off the coast of Ireland. We're all fucking dull."
Yeah, I will say my biggest takeaway from this movie is I probably have to watch it again, but just the entire time watching it, all the way to the end, I was like, calm, up ways and down ways, every which way. Fuck this guy. I do not understand his internal turmoil or struggle at all. I'm just angry with him this entire movie.
Yeah. Well, let's jump ahead then. So yes, there's obviously the thing about the...
Jump back first. Are you jumping past when they talk and he tells them why he doesn't want to be friends with him?
No, that's where I'm going.
Okay.
Obviously, there's the whole stuff with like where Colin gets so fed up that he's like, "I'm going to literally start cutting off my fingers and giving them to you if you don't stop talking to me." But there is a dramatic scene, I don't know if it's before or after he's lost his first finger, where Colm lays out exactly what you're talking about, where he talks about like, "I'm getting old, I'm a dying, and being nice to people and having nice little interactions doesn't live forever. You know what lives forever? Mozart. You know what I mean? That's a man who wrote music in the 16th century or whatever, and we still know it to this day. I need to do something like that and be remembered," right?
Yeah.
And I really do like Colin Farrell. His thing is like, basically like there's nothing like wrong with just having a little laugh with your buddy kind of a thing. But I do really like the thing where he's like, he's like, "Well, I'm Podrick McDonough, and I'm nice."
Yeah, that there's a couple of moments where it's happened. First moment of this movie that really got me is when it's after he tells him, like, he finally sits down with him, like, after him not talking to him, and he goes, "If it's something I did or something I'd said, let me know, because honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I want to apologize and get past this, because I'm really sorry." He goes, "It's not something that you did, and it's not something that you said." And he goes, "Well, then what is it?" He goes, "I just don't like you anymore." And I was like, oh,
yeah.
That's the most brutal thing that you could say to somebody, especially a friend.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you say it to like a partner, it's like, okay, well, yeah, you fall out of love with people, but to a friend, you just be like,
"Friend is timeless.
I don't like you anymore. We don't spend every waking moment together like a partner does, but that doesn't matter because I don't like you." I'm like, oh, that's rough. Even
the sister has a moment where like it's seeped in like a little bit of the whole like, that's not how men behave. But I get what she's saying, where she says like, "What do you mean you're just not friends with them anymore? People don't just do that kind of a thing," or whatever. Where men don't just do that kind of thing.
I think when he says it to Dominic, he goes, "Yeah, he doesn't want to be friends with me anymore." He goes, "What is he, 12?
Yeah.
But then when Colin Farrell, is in the bar giving him the business and like, "I'm nice.
Yeah.
And I will remember people who are nice to me. I will remember my sister.
He's like, "I remember my dad. I remember my mom. They were nice. I remember my sister. She's nice."
Yeah. And,
I think he definitely gets the best of him.
Yeah.
I think he gets the best of him in that.
Yeah, it was like
scene.
Tears were fighting their way out of my face.
It reminds me a lot of the scene in Everything Ever All at Once, where the husband says like, "I just try to make things easier for other people because life is so fucking hard." You know what I mean? Because that's basically what it is. But yeah, I really felt for Colin's character.
There are so many points in this movie where I'm like, okay, Colin got him. He got him now. They're going to be friends in the next scene. And spoilers, it does not happen.
But that gives you another moment that hit me not quite as hard as the I'm Colin Farrell and I'm nice or whatever, but, my dad was nice and I remember him, and my mom was nice and I remember her, but, the scene where the bartender and the bartender's friend or brother, they look very similar.
Yeah.
Very funny. I love these guys. But they basically say, like, you're not dull. Well, you're a little dull. Yeah, you know, like, Colm, he's a thinker. He's like, I think. He's like, you don't think, Padre, or whatever. But
Yeah.
but I do like when they're like, you're one of life's nice guys. And the other guy's like, yeah, you're one of life's nice guys. And he's like, I've always only ever wanted to be one of life's nice guys. But right now that sounds like the worst thing to be.
Chris, that's the title of the other movie.
I think it's good guys. I think it's what they say. Maybe it's nice guys.
Yeah, I
can't
think he's
remember.
one of life's good guys. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, I'm just gonna talk about a scene I really like. I love this man has no news scene.
Yeah, he never has news.
Yeah.
At this point, Son has gotten beat up within an inch of his life by drunk
that's right.
cop
Yes,
dads.
and you're skipping past that. So to talk about my favorite scene, we have to go back.
Yeah.
Yes, after stealing the liquor, the police officer did beat the shit out of his son and kick him out of the house. So Colin Farrell lets him stay with him and his sister, and Shaban gets pretty disrespected by Dominic during the course of that. But the next day-ish, Colin Farrell has to go to like the other side of the island to like get payment for like some milk or whatever his farm has produced from Auroradin, I think her name is.
Sure.
And she immediately is like, you got any news? Or if he's like, oh, I don't really have any news. He's like, Colin Farty Darty came in here earlier too, and he had no news. Yeah, man never has news. He doesn't talk. And even in that moment, there's so many little moments in this thing. Like, I love that Colin Farrell takes the time to be like, well, he talks sometimes. Even though they're not talking, he still feels the need to defend his friend.
And he also it looks like he's a little hurt when he's like,
yeah.
I didn't tell you we're not friends anymore. That's not news to him.
Yeah. And then the police officer comes in, and she's like, do you have any news? This man has no news. And he says, this man always has a rake of news, whatever. And the guy is like, oh, this young boy walked into a lake and killed himself. This other guy killed his wife with a spoon. And she's like, oh, good Lord, say you love us, or whatever.
Because he stabbed his wife 6-7 times. He goes,
Yeah.
did she die? He goes, wasn't stabbing her with a spoon. Yeah, she
Oh,
died.
that's what it is. Yeah. But anyways, she's like, God love us. He's like, not God love us, whatever the fuck. But she's like, no, that's news. This man has no news, whatever. And so Colin Farrell eventually is like, I'll give you some news. How about police officer Colin or whatever, who, beats the shit out of his boy or whatever every night, takes his whole day out on his little boy or whatever. And then she's like, that's no news. Yeah, he's like, if I wasn't an old woman, I'd beat him with a pot or whatever.
Yeah. He also spills the beans that Son is staying with him.
Yes, yeah. And then the police officer beats him up. Well, just one sucker punch, but it fucking knocks him senseless. But who's walking up?
Oh, I think he punches him a couple times on the ground as well.
Yeah. But who's walking up other than his knight in cowboy armor? Colm. And Colm picks him up, sets him on his little horse and buggy, and takes him, as far as he'll take him. And then Colm hops off and goes towards his house,
Another moment where I was like, nah, the pieces are coming back together.
Yeah.
They're going to be friends at the end of this movie.
Yeah.
Colin Farrell goes back home, tells sister goes back up to the bar and yells at Colm.
Yeah.
We're all dull. Fuck you. Who do you think you are?
I will
And
also say yes. That I also love the sister constantly just being like, "What the fuck is wrong with you, Podrick? Are you fucking dumb? Like, stop talking
He
to
cut off
this
his
man."
finger and threw it at you. Oh, he threw it at the
Yeah,
door.
because he's like, well, I'll return after he throws the finger at the door. He's like, I'll return it after we finish breakfast. And he's like, are you a fucking idiot?
Yeah.
What? The man threw his finger. You don't return it. Leave him alone. Yeah.
And then he talks. We missed the part where he talks to the priest.
Mm-hmm.
Colin talks to the priest, and then priest talks to Mad Eye Moody and asks him about Colin Farrell. And then later he comes to the bar, and it's right before he gives him the "I'm going to cut off his finger each time" speech.
Yeah.
He goes, "Stop sending your sister and stop sending priest after me." He goes, "I didn't send my sister. She's her own woman with her own thoughts and actions. I did send the priest after you, though. You got me there."
Yeah. Why does the first finger get cut off? The very first one. What is the point where he comes and talks to him that?
It's after he yells at him at the bar. He goes and sees him on the beach the next day to say he's sorry.
Yeah.
And he goes, "What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
How are you here? How are you not getting this?"
I do love in this scene though when he's like, "How's the song going?" and then he like mimes fiddling for like a half of a second, and then he just walks away because Colin doesn't say anything.
Also, his sweater in that scene, Colin Farrell's.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, chef's kiss all around. So good. It's just that big like cable knit with like the big collar.
Yeah. He's dressed great in the
red
whole
one.
movie, I think.
And I looked it up. I was like, I gotta get me one of these sweaters. All the sweaters that he's wearing in this
$200.
movie, no, they're handmade by a woman who lives on that actual
Oh, no kidding.
island where they shot the movie. Yeah.
Wow.
So you have to go there and get one for her.
Wow.
Yeah.
I will say one demerit to this movie for Colin Farrell's teeth. Nobody in 1920 had teeth
They're
that
so
perfect.
good. Yeah, they're great
They're
teeth.
perfect teeth.
Gum them up a little bit.
Gum them up for the role. Gum them up for the role.
We are just kind of all over the place. So.
We are very all over the place. This is a great movie. I should also stop to say I love this movie.
Oh, yeah.
It's paced well. It's funny. It has some heart. And yeah, just everything about it. Like it's so weird. It keeps you kind of so disoriented.
Mm-hmm.
Because of all that weird, like, fucking miniature Stonehenge fucking...
Yeah.
Like, breaking up of plots of lands with stones kind of a thing. And there's not many buildings. There's, like, the bar, there's Calm's house, there's Podrick's house, and then there's the Auroridan on the other side of the thing. And, like, I can't think of another building you see.
They go to the cop's house.
Okay, the cop's house.
And that's it. We also missed the Banshee.
Yes, she shows up frequently. She hangs out with her sister, actually.
Yes. And she's like, get out of here, or whatever. She's telling him to leave. And he goes, you don't even like her. He's like, what are you talking about? He goes, when you see her coming by, you will hide behind walls. When you see her coming, she goes, I do not hide behind walls.
And then later he tries to pull the fucking same thing. And I love when he ducks over and she's just waiting for him, whatever. But she basically says, by the end of the month, there'll be 2 dead bodies.
There'll be 1, maybe 2 deaths. And I forgot exactly what the line is. But Colin Farrell, there's a beat, and Colin Farrell goes, well, I hope not.
But I also like when Colm gives the title of his song. He says that there are banshees on Inisherin. It's just they don't wail anymore. They just kind of sit back and watch or whatever the fuck he says.
Yeah, she absolutely does.
Yeah.
Also, love that she has the stick. She has the stick with the hook.
The one that Dominic found in the beginning. Yeah,
I love that.
Which is what he gets pulled out of the water with.
What do you think you'd use this for? Pulling things in that are a stick's length away.
I love Dominic in this movie. He's very funny. Yeah. We'll cut ahead a little bit. I don't know where the fuck we are in this movie, but I love when he approaches Shaban by the water, and he's like, "Would you want to do a date with me or whatever?" And she's like, "No, I'm sorry."
Do you think you could ever fall in love with a guy
yeah,
like
he's
me?
He's like, I kind of guessed that or everything. Yeah, he's like, would you maybe when I was your age fall in love with me kind of a thing? And she's like, no, I'm sorry, love. And he's like, okay, kind of figured that too. And he's like, I'm gonna go over there and do what it was that I was gonna do over there.
I love that before he shows up, she's at the water and she sees the Banshee on the other side of the lake near some fucking shack or whatever she lives in. And she's just going, like, he's creepy, like, come your hand. And then Dominic comes up behind her. She goes, Jesus Christ, sneaking up on me all the time. I got you. I got this ghoul across the lake over there.
And he says something like, yeah, she is a bit ghoulish.
He goes, I call her a ghoul all the time. Well, seeing as we have so much in common, do you think you'd ever love me?
Right. Yes. I love this movie. I also think it's a little creepy that she is definitely unsettling. There's a general... like you said, there's a folklore vibe to this. This does feel like a folklore.
Yeah. That's so fucked up. You were agreeing with me, and I went, absolutely. Absolutely, I'm right.
So anyways, at a certain point through there's like people who have come to help Calm write a song from a local college on the mainland or something.
Yeah,
like,
that's right.
Or whatever, right? And Colin Farrell gives one of them a ride and lies to him and says that his dad has been hit by like a milk truck or whatever, and he's like, oh my god, that's so fucking bizarre. And he's like, why? He's like, because that's how my mom died.
Goes, oh, that can't happen. Yeah, he got hit by a bread truck. Oh, that can't be. What do you mean? People get hit by bread trucks all the time. I know, that's how my mom died.
Yeah. But anyways, he eventually gets the idea through Dominic that or no, wait, what am I talking about?
He's gonna be mean to Calm.
Oh, right, yes.
Because when he's mean to him at the bar to like brush it off, Calm says it's the most interesting he's ever been. I think I like him again.
Yes,
like,
right after the I'm
break
nice.
The tension and make everybody laugh. Yeah.
Yes. So he shows up to Calm's house and he's just kind of being a dick. He's like, well, can I have a seat? Just kidding, I'm gonna take it. You're a fat, sorry son of a bitch. Anyways, nice dog. Just kidding. It's hairy and I hate it, or whatever he's doing. He's just, playing it fast and loose and being kind of mean or whatever. And Colm has actually finished his song, so at this point, he's open to being friends again, kind of a thing.
Is he?
Yeah. Yeah. He's finished his song this morning.
Okay, go on.
And then, basically, Colm is like, or not Colm, Podrick is like, and also, now that we're friends and stuff like that, I feel like I didn't even have to tell that guy to go fuck off because his mom died or whatever. He can come back. And then Colm's like, oh, really?
I read this differently.
Okay.
I thought Colm was just like, as soon as he came in, was like, okay, there go the rest of the fingers. No matter what happens here, I'm going to just play it cool because I'm going to cut off the rest of my fingers and leave him at his house.
Yeah.
Regardless of if you told him about that guy or not. And I could be wrong. You could be right.
Yeah.
It's a movie. It's up to interpretation, or maybe not. Maybe there's a definitive answer.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was...
Well, at least by the time that he shows up and he's like, I'm going to burn your house down, at least by that point, Colm is like, I'm open to being friends again. I want to be friends again.
No, I don't think that's it. I think
absolutely. He says that. He says that outright.
I think what he says outright is, okay, now we're done. Now we don't have to talk to each other anymore. Like, this isn't like a revenge thing anymore. I think we can leave it where it is. I don't have any fingers left. Your donkey's dead. Let's just not talk to each other anymore.
Interesting. Yeah, I read that whole last half differently. I thought it was a thing where, like, by that point, Colm was basically like, okay, I've done my thing. Like, kind of like I'm done being foolish kind of a thing. Like, I'm ready for some dullness again. So that's what made it all the more ironic that now the tables have turned. Colin Farrell's the one who doesn't want to be friends. Not that Colm's necessarily trying to be friends. He's just saying that, like, let's be friends again. But now it's even more ironic. Like, no, Colin Farrell's the one who doesn't want to be friends now.
What I thought it was Colm was like, okay, things are getting a little bit out of hand. So let's just not talk to each other and leave each other alone, okay? And Colin Farrell goes, oh, no, I'm going to kill you. Yeah, because when he comes to his house and he's being mean to him, I was very happy because I thought, you could be right. I thought Colm was like realizing what I thought was going to happen, which I think is the smart decision between these two. Is I thought the whole time Colm's being such an asshole about everything, I'm like thinking about it. I'm like, well, yeah, you need a Colin Farrell in your life, sir, if you want to be this great artist, and also teach him about music. Teach him to appreciate your hobby. Tell him about your music. So that's why when he comes in, he's asking him about the song. I was like, oh, cool. Did Colin Farrell figure it out? And he's asking him about his music now, and they're sharing in each other's interests now as friends. No, it turns out no. Or yes, depending on if you're you or me.
But anyways, basically at this point, he's lost all of his fingers. Yes. Because he's thrown them at the house. But what happened? His prized donkey, as in Colin Farrell's prized donkey, has swallowed one of the fingers a little too much so and died. So now, there's a straight up blood feud on Colin Farrell's end.
Just a side note, I don't know what kind of visual effects they're doing, practical or otherwise, but whatever they're doing to give him that fingerless hand, they should have spent more time on it. There's so many scenes, especially when he's walking away from them after leaving all the fingers at their house. Yeah. Very clearly has a fake arm in a sleeve, and his other arm is just hanging down inside the jacket.
But so basically at this point, Colin Farrell's like, tomorrow at 3 o'clock, I'm burning down your house. He can be in it. He can be out of it. I'd prefer it if your dog goes outside because I do not want to kill the dog. I have no qualms with the dog. He shows up, burns the house down, looks inside, Colm's sitting there.
I love when he finds his dead donkey and he buries it and he goes to leave. He runs into the Banshee and she goes, don't kill his dog. And he goes, I'm not going to kill the dog.
Also, I feel like in our barreling forward because of our different interpretations of the movie, we also skipped over the fact that, like, leading up to the house burning down, boy, does he get a rough end of the stick because, like, his sister leaves. She gives him the speech finally where she's like, hey, I'm going to the mainland. And she, like, legitimately leaves and stuff like that. And,
I thought from the beginning, I was like, take him with you.
Well, she offers. She says, I have an extra bed here and stuff like that.
Writes, but I was like,
but he's like, no, I live here, He writes to her and he lies to her saying that everything's great and, the donkey's doing great.
So sad.
It is.
So sad when the letter's over and he's in his room. Also, funniest joke of the movie, I think, is when he's writing that letter and it's just the shots of him in the house. All of the animals are inside. Because there's a running joke earlier in the movie that his sister's like, no donkey in the house. Yeah. He's like, I'm sad. Let me have the donkey in the house.
Yeah. He loves having animals in the house. And he loves Inisherin and he doesn't want to leave. But anyways, yes, he burns down Colm's house.
Love it. I just love it. I don't know why I love it so much, but his turn of being just... He says it to Dominic, and he goes, well, Dominic's like, that's the meanest thing I've ever heard. You're a mean guy. And he goes, no, I'm nice. He goes, he did a mean thing. He goes, maybe this is just me now. Maybe this is how it happens. Maybe this is just who I am now. And that's he just is for the rest of the movie. He just changes to a completely different person. He's like, oh, no, I'm going to kill you. That's how this is going to end. And that's all I care about right now. I'm not going to go see my sister because I have to kill you.
Yeah. It becomes like the Hatfield and McCoys. It's, something out of folklore. But anyways, then they meet on the beach the next day after the house is burnt, and they have a little chit-chat. And, Colm asks or thanks him for taking care of the dog or whatever, and he says, anytime.
he says, now that the house is burnt down, I suppose we're even. And he goes, no. Thanks for watching my dog. Anytime. And then you cut to the Banshee. And then Colin Farrell comes out from the other side of her and it splits the screen. And it's over.
And I think we also forgot to mention, Dominic is dead in the river. I think we alluded to earlier, but he's dead in the river and they pull him out of the river with the stick that he's fucking with earlier.
Yeah, I thought when he's waving goodbye to his sister on the boat, there's that person out of frame and sister's looking at that person while Colin Farrell's waving goodbye. I thought it was calm and he was going to kill himself there. Mm-hmm. And then they found Boy in the river and I was like, was that Boy? Did Boy kill himself because sister didn't like him?
Yeah.
But no, it's a Banshee.
Do they explicitly state how Dominic dies?
They say he must have slipped on a rock or something like that.
Oh, okay.
And I think I assumed Dominic killed himself because we did kind of skip past it. Dominic has an awful life.
Yeah.
His dad beats him a bunch. Colin Farrell lets it slip at the bar that his dad diddles him and stuff like that. Also, we missed that too. The cop is like, Sunday, I'm killing you, Colin Farrell.
Yeah, there's a little dialogue about the kill me, or beat me up, kill me.
Beat you up, kill you. He doesn't have it in him. He did kill a man once though.
Yeah. But anyways, that's pretty much Red Picture. I think it's a brilliant film. I love it. Absolutely. The vibes are there. The pacing's there. Funny. The heart's there. Mm-hmm. Great performances all around. This is a banger of a banger. This is an A+. I can't even decide, but I think I may even like it more than Bruges.
I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you.
Yeah, but I think I do. I think, I'm just going to say I do.
Mm-hmm. I feel the exact same way. I think this is stem to stern a better movie. It's like, we were having this conversation the other day. I think it's like I think Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is Quentin Tarantino's best movie. And you say it's Pulp Fiction, and I think I agree with you, but I also disagree with you. I was saying that I think compared to every other movie ever made, Pulp Fiction's his best movie, but compared to all of his other movies, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is his best movie. And that's how I feel about this. It feels like in Bruges, but 10 years have passed or whatever.
Yeah.
And everybody involved in it is a little bit more mature and stuff like that. And God damn, can Colin Farrell act? I've never thought that he was a bad actor, but just especially that I'm nice scene in the bar, or even just his switch to being like, I'm gonna kill you now is just so good. I'm gonna give this one an A+. And I think I like it more than In Bruges. Yeah,
and as you mentioned, just to go into a little more detail about spiritual successor, same actors, same writer director, both centered around one location that is almost kind of like this one, a little less so maybe, but kind of like a love letter to a location, But this time around, it's just it's a different, definitely like a more mature, kind of like theme or philosophy, discussion kind of a thing. Within Bruges, it's like, I took a kid's life, so now I have to kill myself, right? That's the thing, right? Mm-hmm. And that's,
I heard them say, I heard the Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson. I saw they were on a Colbert or something like that. And one of them said that, In Bruges is a story about two guys falling in love, and this one's about two guys falling out of love. I'm like, that's a great point,
but I mean, that's also putting too fine of a point on it from my thing because there's also the question of, actually, I would almost retract my statement, because I think the actual, the main theme of In Bruges is more so almost akin to Magnolia or something like that. What can we forgive, right?
Yeah.
Has this kid really ruined his life? Is he really deplorable and someone who should be executed in the street or should kill themselves? Or can he go on to do good? Mm-hmm. And that's a pretty, actually, in my opinion, I think a very, very interesting thing to attempt to address in a movie.
Yeah.
And I think it's something that a lot of people have a lot of different opinions on. I mean, you take it out of the context of it being Colin Farrell and someone you like, and suddenly it becomes a thing where you're like, no, fuck that guy, kill that fucking guy,
Yeah.
But anyways, this is an A+ for me.
It's an A+ for me. I was thinking of a bunch of stuff to say, but it's all about In Bruges, and that's not the movie we're talking about, so I'll move on.
Well, no, I mean, I already segued us there, so if you want to mention something, go ahead.
Hey, I was just going to say, I was going to compare it again to a conversation we had off air the other day. We were talking about how much you and I both equally love Blink-182. No, I'm much more of a Blink-182 fan than you are. You are an adult man who understands that you should leave some things behind, and I'm not. So I love Blink-182 still. But we did agree that there are some really good Blink-182 songs, like the Untitled album. but they're still at like a point in their lives and their career that some of it just doesn't really click. Like, it feels more mature, and they're trying to do something smart and artsy. But also it's like, ooh, there's just like one or two things here and there that don't really add up. But besides that, love what you're trying to do. I almost feel that way about In Bruges.
Yeah, because there's so many things that are almost airtight and really smart, but there's just like a overall air of like, you know, not too long ago Pulp Fiction happened, not too long ago Snatch happened. Like everything was like this weird, like gritty, edgy, over the top, like gun game thing. And that's the thing that I feel like really dates it, is that it's like it's an immature thing the way that like, you know, like in your example, like a, you know, artist like at some point should like mature out of pop punk. Not to say that they didn't do great things while they were there and like touch on some mature things while they were there, but like just the general aesthetic itself is like, you know what I mean, I could say the smartest thing you've ever heard, but like if I'm, you know, dressed in like a fucking Nightmare Before Christmas shirt and, you know, like I look like I fell out of a Hot Topic, you might respect it a little less.
Yeah,
sadly.
Yeah, that's you beautifully said my thought that I couldn't really articulate, but my original thought was In Bruges is really good and really artsy, and I like it, but it ends in a shootout. It ends in a shootout, and like it even like goes to like the packaging. Like I can't. First, it's a problem I have, but with a movie, I can't not think of the movie and the poster at the same time. You know. And so it does feel a little bit just like that Blink-182 album. In Bruges does feel a little bit too steeped in the time period that it was made in. And I think, obviously, I don't know this because I watched this movie yesterday and it came out 2 weeks ago. Yeah. But I have a feeling that Banshees is going to stand the test of time a little bit more. It feels a little bit more timeless.
Yeah. Also, I think this motherfucker might have a hard time with the awards, but it's been nominated for a lot of awards.
Oh, yeah?
It's just going up against Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Oh.
In like every category. Like it's nominated for just a bunch of awards, but every time it's against Everything Everywhere All at Once.
I think this would have been a nice January movie. They could have just pushed it. It would have won everything for the 2024 awards.
Yeah.
So yeah, we like this movie.
Quite a bit. I like this movie a lot.
Almost Mattress Man time. Don't worry. We got to talk about what we're doing next week, though.
Oh, yeah, we do. Is it Jingle All the Way or is it the Santa Claus?
Chris, it's weather outside is frightful, and the fire is not delightful. It's Christmas special time. It's holiday special time. We're doing a Christmas movie. Do you want to watch the Santa Claus 1 and 2, or Jingle All the Way, and the Santa Claus 3?
Well, last year for Christmas, we just did like a half hour, like one. So we don't necessarily have to pump it up. We could just do Santa Claus or Jingle All the Way.
Well, I think, in my humble opinion, the Santa Claus is only worth it if we immediately follow it up with the Santa Claus 2, because I think that movie has him turning into making a toy Nazi version of himself.
He does, yeah.
So let's do Jingle All the Way.
Okay.
Instead of those two.
Okay.
Yeah, do a nice little short Christmas episode. And then we're recording all of these in advance. That's not how that sentence works. We're recording all of these in advance. So we're going to take a week off for the holiday.
That is true.
So after a Christmas episode, there will be no new episode.
Until January.
Until January.
Whatever Monday is the January. I think it's like like January 1st is Monday. Because I think the 31st happens on Sunday.
No, because Christmas happens on Sunday this year.
Yeah. Then it's the 2nd. No, it's got to be. Yeah, I think the first is Sunday, I think. So technically the New Year's Day. So it would be January 2nd, I think, is Monday. We'll be back Monday, January 2nd.
I'm so confused because we're a week ahead.
So the 19th Christmas episode, right?
Oh, I thought we were going to do Christmas episode on the 26th, the day after Christmas. But no, that would make sense. Yeah, 19th.
Then the 26th we're off.
The 26th we're off.
Then the 2nd we're back.
Yeah. Keep all that in there. Because anyone else is confused as me in the future.
Okay. That's that, Mattress Man.
If you need more soup, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, or go to our website, eatingsoupalone.com. And until next time,